Hey guys, and welcome back to another live stream as we get closer and closer to the teams for round 4 of the AFLW season. I hope you all had a great day and I guess looking forward to seeing what changes are going to occur with teams this week, as there are going to possibly be some interesting midfields to look at. Hopefully we get some more debuts. I'm hoping we get the Lauren Young debut. That would be nice. I haven't heard anything exactly from Port Adelaide surrounding that, but hopefully we get that, because that would be another cash generator that we need. We need cash generators at this point. You'll hear me. I already recorded the live stream for not live stream, sorry, the video for my team reveal, and I talk heavily about cash generators and that we still need to focus on them. So I'm hoping that we do get the likes of Lauren Young, because that will enable us to downgrade Bogue to a Young, and that'll get us where we need to go with regards to that. So I'm hoping that we do get her. But anyway, let's just jump into this. And before we do, remember to like this live stream to get others around it. Remember to subscribe as well and turn your notifications on, as sometimes you can, I don't upload exactly on the same timings. My live streams are the 7:30 and 5:30 ones. 7:30 for Wednesdays, 5:30 for these Thursdays. But the video timings aren't exactly set in stone. I like to get them roughly out at the same time. But yeah, just turn your notification on so that we will so yeah, hopefully you'll be able to see when videos come out. But anyway, let's jump into it. I think it's this one here. I'm going to keep my trades secret till the video goes out. There's no point spoiling my own video, but you'll probably hear roughly what my trades were in general across the week. I've sort of been very bland about it, and you'll probably know them, but we'll see about them here. But anyway, first question here from Saeed. Thoughts on Simons for Dunlop this week? Yep. It's something that I think you can do if you have the rookies that you, if you don't have the really, really beefed up rookies of Wrench and Ott, if you want to trade a rookie, I think that's the way to gain 100K or so. I think Simons is 359 and Dunlop is 448. So that's about 90K or so. And that's an avenue in which you can go there. So I like that one. So I think that that's a way in which you can gain 100K of cash, but then Simons is going to be able to gain a lot more cash in the next couple of weeks, especially if she can get her TOG up. I'm pretty sure she had maybe a concussion test or something, which kept her TOG pretty low. But if she can get her TOG up higher, if we just look at Simons here, I believe she's in somewhere here. If I go, I think this is how to spell her name. Let me just see. Here we go. There we go. Let's just look at this here. You can see her junior numbers are sort of off the page. 20 touches, 21 hit outs. Here for a 126, a 101, another 100, a 123. So yeah, her junior numbers are sort of off the page, but we'll just see how she goes. But obviously playing second ruck, she isn't going to get a massive total. But you can see nine hitouts from 26% ruck contests and 29% CBAs, 41% TOG for a 49. If she can get that TOG up into the 60s, you're laughing there. So I think she's one to really look at as well. She's one that I'm even looking at next week to just see what's the go there, because she's one that could easily be very, very valuable for cash generation. As we know, cash generation starts to slow after the first couple of weeks, but we still need to be really critical about who we select, because there's still cash gen to have. And I feel like she's one that could do really, really well quickly and catch up to Dunlop very, very quickly. Yeah, this is not the news that I necessarily wanted to hear, as she'll take part in match scrimmage this week. So that's a no this week. She was obviously a test, but it doesn't look like we are getting Lauren Young. I may still take the opportunity next week to grab her. when she's 300k flat, but that obviously isn't exactly what we wanted, because we do want her to debut to have that lower break even for when we grab her up. But maybe her 300k playing next week could actually just be the risk that you're willing to take if there's no other forwards that present themselves. It's the risk that I would probably be willing to take given all the chat that we've heard about her. And if it gets me that extra sort of 80, 90K, then you'll sort of see the implications in my AFLW team reveal for when it comes live Friday about midday. You'll see the implications there, and it may enable me to get that top liner in. It might enable me to get the likes of Harris up to a Malloy next week, potentially alongside another move. But we'll just have to see how it goes. There may be a lot of still cash generating options that we can go to rather than going for the upgrade here, doing this, etc. So on to the next question here from Grant. Who does everyone not have Monconti in their team? Is that a why does everyone not have Monconti in their team? I think because Monconti, if we look at her numbers from last year, they weren't exactly kind, I would say. They were very, very down. So we've seen her go 100 before, but we haven't seen her absolutely smashed out the park. Let's make this a little bit bigger for you guys. So if you look at the numbers here, you'll see that her tackling has actually gone up, and she's gone 9.3 tackles per game. If she lowers that back down, she's only a 100 scorer. So I'm really worried about the tackling, that it returns to a new norm. She's gone 7, 12, and 9. If she drops like a 4 tackle game, I don't expect her to really do well. And that's the problem with Monconti, is that at the moment, with the way that she plays her game and how the AFLW is in particular, she really struggles with the non-disposal points. You can just see it. I know we're looking at 8 per game also in the marks and tackles, but a lot of the big sort of players, if we look at Garner first, you'll see this as well. If we look at Garner, she's at 10 here, 10 here, 10 here again, 9 here. If we look at Riddell, she's probably a little bit more like the Contis esque of 9, but she's still at 9 rather than 8s and stuff like that we're seeing with Contis. You can see when Riddell was scoring really poorly, it was actually the tackle was down by 1, but it was the disposals that went up as well. If we look at Gardner as well, you'll see that when she's scoring really well, she's at 9. Again, this is about 8.5. This again, and that was a low season because she got injured. This one here is up massively when she actually, because you can see the roll wasn't there, but when she switched to Sydney, you can see the roll was there, and that's when she was up around that 12 marker, give or take. And the last one I'd like to just point out is Marinoff, and you'll see the numbers are off the page. There's for the last, what did we say, since season 5, and I know that the Togs, the actual sort of time on ground has increased in the time, but you can see that she's gone from the likes of 5.2 marks in this game in this year. It's crazy. I don't know what in the world happened there, but yeah, you can see there. But after season 6, 11, well, almost 12, that's 14.3, that's 15.8, and this year she's at 13. Compare that to Monconti, where she's struggling to hit 9s for the regular, and that's where you get that big difference, and why people don't want to really go on Monconti, because it could be disposal based where she's scoring her best. But anyway, then we get here thoughts on Ella Heads. I don't mind her particularly, but I'm also like, I guess the word would be cognizant of what she did in round 1. If we look at her average for the year, she's up at 67, exactly what we thought she'd be. Round 1, she went 44, then she's gone 71, 87. So she's back to what we thought she would be to a certain extent, which is a lot better. And the role there is a lot better. She was playing a tagging role in this one, so her tackles are really up, and that's one that you can really rely heavily on her. She's at 4.7 marks, 4.7 tackles, so she's doing a lot of the non-disposal work that we like. I just wonder if she's necessarily going to be able to hit the top of the line. I'd like to see one more game of this, rather than, because I'm worried that she goes back and has a 44 game and suddenly you're looking at someone that, you can't exactly trust. So that's why I think with Heads, I'd rather wait another week at least. Would you prioritize getting Wrench or off field, or getting Greaves in can only do one or the other? I would probably get Wrench out of the side because I think that her break even is relatively high, and I do think that she will be potentially starting to lose cash. Greaves, it sucks that you miss her, like I miss the likes of Boyd, but you can still make around it. Whereas if you get sort of stuck with a rookie and start losing cash generation, that's where you can really get stuck. Whereas if you sort of miss out on one cash generator itself, it's not the end of the world. Like you've seen my side with the likes of Boyd not in it, and it's still doing all right. It's not doing perfect, but it's still doing all right. So I would rather get rid of and realize that cash generation from Wrench rather than letting her potentially drop in cash, because she might drop 30K this week. You might not be able to get her out the next week. And then she drops another 50K, and suddenly you're looking at a player that's 450K that you could have traded out at 570 or so. Thoughts on Heath as an option over Wrench? Heath's one that I'm looking at potentially next week, just because the role is massive there. But she's got an 80 break even. It's not really going to move. She's not really going to move the needle this week. So I think we can get away with her holding this week. And then potentially next week, the big moves are had there. So, we just got to wait, I think, a week on her because she's not going to move. So if you can get her, you're going to get her at the same price next week, whereas you can get the value options this week that are still slightly unders. Or you can get other players that enable you to, and we don't know exactly what her role is going to be, but I'm pretty certain it's going to be that midfield role. So I'd rather wait another week, let her cash generation, well, not cash generation, but a break even regularize, whilst also getting in to the players that could probably get away from us, like a McCormack, Georgia Stathis, etc., could get away from you. So I'd rather wait a week for Heath and let her break even sort of settle around that 60 marker again. And then we can move her in next week when she's around the same price, and it'd be easier then. What do you reckon top 5 in each line, and by which round are you looking to have a full primo side? Top 5 in each line. Let's look at them here. So let's look at the top 5, not the rankings, the stat center here. If we go positions, we go defenders. So Lucas Rod, top of the line. I would say the other top of the line players are probably going to end up being McCormack, Georgia Stathis, Carney, and probably McLaughlin are probably going to be the top 5, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's probably top 5. And then knocking on the door are your Conans, Paxmans, Richardson, etc. They're all going to be near enough. But the top 7 is where you really want to be hunting. Top 7, but having Lucas Rod is basically all that you want in the defender line, because they're going to be pretty close to what you need. In the midfield line, slightly different. If we go, Riddell's going to be top. Think Hanks probably returns to form there. Keeps her form up. So I think she's going to be top there. Marinoff 3rd, Gardner 4. I'm disregarding Gardner because she's going to be gone most of the year. But if she does, most of the regular season remaining, about half of it. So in the end, she might be top of the line, but she might be 5th or so. But if you go by total points, she won't be anywhere close. You're probably going to see, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4. You're probably going to see someone like an Ella Roberts or a Conti get into the 5th slot, and then you're going to have someone like a Bowers or a Prasparkas in that sort of top 7 as well. But yeah, that's, again, very similar, is that we want Riddell and then the rest can sort of just filter out. It's kind of surprising that the likes of Marinoff has dropped so much. She dropped, 300K or so? 376K, and we thought she might get up to tipping over the 2 million marker, which is quite crazy. Ruck line, I think it's going to go Strom by about 10, 15 points still. I think you're seeing it with Scholes and Moffat that they're going to be around that mid to low 80s, I think, is where you're going to see those two. I think they're just coming off a really good game. Wales might be sort of in between, but I still do think Strom's averaging 97 and she's going through tough matchups. I think she can easily resurrect that to go into, hold around the 97 to 100 marker, whereas Scholes and Moffat are probably going to slide a little bit. So we'll see how that turns out. But I think Strom is going to be the runaway there. And then the forward line, I think, is pretty simple. It's Malloy, Ham, Goldsworthy, Barnett, and Woodland. I would say that Zanker's probably close behind. But aside from that, you've got basically the 5 non-full forward players, which is what you basically want. Malloy's playing on ball about 30% or so. Ham's playing on ball about 50% or so. Goldsworthy's full on ball most weeks. Barnett's a ruck that also goes back into defense and takes just mark after mark. She's taken already 15 marks. Probably 10 of them are intercepts. And then you got Woodland, who's a tall on baller that loves to tackle. So those are the easy top 5 there in that line, and that's all of the lines there. And for a round in which you're probably going to finish or be, I'm going to say you're not going to exactly probably ever finish it, but you're going to get relatively close relatively quickly. You're going to get to probably, what are we now, round 4 now? You're probably going to be close, I would say, to top picks by about round 7, round 8, I would say. Just thinking off the numbers here, let's just go off my team pre-trades. I am getting Ott's going to go up this week to a defender, so lock her out. Watson's D5 this week. Fish M5. Scholes could go to Strom. I know in next week I have a feeling, and then I've got Harris and Stone. Harris can already very easily with Bogue go up to a Malloy pretty much. If we go to a Harris, to a Young next week in that forward slot, because that'll be hopefully 300k, 350k to upgrade Harris. So I might get Harris to, let's just think about this, and I say this in my video as well tomorrow, Bogue, Scholes, and Harris to potentially Malloy, Young, and Strom next week. Then that would leave me Stone, Fish, and Watson, basically to get to Riddell, a Georgie, a Lucas Rod, and then as well up to a who's in the 800k range for Woodland, which is only 200k, 250k away from Stone, and that's closing each week because Stone's still got a low break even, and that's at the end of that's round 5 that I'm going to have those moves done. Week 6 is probably upgrading Zippy Fish, and then week 7 is probably upgrading Stone up to Woodland or someone, or potentially upgrading a Watson to a Tilly Lucas Rod, and then Stone the week out. So I'm probably going to be finished around week 8, I would say. Really well done week 8. And week 7, I'm probably only burning 20 points per week. 20 points if I'm Stone to someone else, etc. So I think round 7, 8 is when most teams will have it finished. And for me, I'm going to have, and if I don't do the Scholes to Strom trade, I might even finish a week earlier than that. So round 7, 8 is around where I think most teams will finish. And by then, the only trades that I'll need to do is probably a Bowers, a Pressbarkers up, alongside potentially one of Conan, Paxman, or McLaughlin up to a premium defender. So you'll see that most of my trades are sorted by then, and I'm really only burning maybe 10 or so points rather than 20 or 30 that I think you burn with rookies on field. If Bacon stops giving away points and sloppy tackles, she pops a 60 plus. I know she had a 45 with 5 free kicks against, and 2 or 3 of them were in tackles. So if you just change those around, that's like a mid 70 score. So yeah, I think the likes of Bacon can score. It's just that she relies so heavily on non-disposal scoring that it's just really tough for her sometimes to get off the ground with her scoring there. Ella, Heads, or Carney? Let's go to this here. Heads is 795k, and she might be one that actually becomes very, very cheap and gettable next week. So there's also that potential, because like if I think about this logically next week, going into round 5, I may go Watson, Bogue, and Harris up to premium players across the line. Maybe I grab Woodland next week. Watson also goes up to a premium, and have Bogue there as well, down to a Young, and that's the way I do it. That's very, very plausible. way of doing it. So I could do that, and then I would just have Zippy Fish and Stone that are really burning points if Scholes does really do well, but we'll have to wait and see. But Ella Heads or Carney, if we just go to the defender line and look at Carney, she's averaging 84. I don't think that'll hold long term, but she had a really good game, 60% total for an 84. I don't think that's going to happen long term, but she did really well. She has form as well of scoring mid 70s or high 60s, if I remember correctly, for a long time. We go to Emma Carney here, and we go 58, 72, 65, 69, and then 80, 84, 82, 87 seasons. So she's done really, really well in the past, but I just don't know. I'm pretty sure that was on ball games, so I don't think that'll be what she's able to do. If we look back in the history and find those sorts of games here, you'll see a 102, 7 tackles, 24 touches, a 31 touch, 125. I don't think you're going to really see that from Carney these days. I think you're more likely to see these sort of high, a couple of 70s and 80s in games like that. So she might touch 100 in a game or two, but she'll still do really well. And I know that 58 has, I believe, a 2 and a 25 in there, where she basically didn't play. If you take those 2 games out, then that 58 and 8 turns into like a 67 or something. Let me just double check that for you guys. It turns into a 73. So she's basically gone 73, 72, 65, 69, 80, 84, 82, 87, 72 in the last couple of years. So I could see her doing really well and being the pick over the likes of Ella Heads, to be honest with you. Interested on your thoughts on Nanscorn. Nanscorn's been one that, if we just go to Nanscorn here and look at it here, you'll see that she has averaged really well since ever coming into the competition, well, coming back into the competition, I should say, just because of her strong tackling base. She is now at, she's gone 83, 89, and now 109.7. So still really strong tackling base, but her numbers for disposal-wise are really actually getting up there, which is a great thing. I just don't know if she can continue on the run, because I think it's come in the same time as a Maddie Prasparkas. If we just try and find Maddie Prasparkas here, let's do this. Prezi here. If we look at Prasparkas, her numbers actually have never really been too high, but so it actually doesn't really matter. She's not actually taking too many points off her. I thought it could actually be the case that Maddie Prasparkas was really having a downturn in form, but she's been a 21 or so touch, 22 touch player for the last couple of years and gone up towards that 25, 26 touch in the last couple of years. So she's done really, really well, but Nanscorn's done really, really well, especially with the non-disposal work. If we just bring in Nanscorn back again, I don't know why that's happened. There we go. Nanscorn at the bottom there. Hopefully that works. Yep. So you can just see the disposals are up. The tackles are up there. And she's scored 100 in her last 4. Will she be able to? I just think that for me, and I'm going to say this and it's going to sound dumb, there's too much of a risk for me that she goes back to her sort of 90-ish scoring and you're just burning points there. She's up and around. If we look at Nanscorn as well here in the midfield line, you can see she's at 1.274 million, which is in and around that sort of 102, 103 marker anyway. So I don't know if we're necessarily going to be getting as much value there. She's also played 2 absolutely shocking sides in GWS and Richmond. So I think against tougher sides, she may struggle, given if we just look at her numbers again here in her last game, she played for last year against Freo for 100. Against North Melbourne, she went 90. She's been ultra consistent and not really had a bad game, other than this Adelaide game where she went 53. But yeah, I'm just intrigued to see how she goes in general against the better sides before actually jumping on her, because she may end up being an M5, but I don't know if she will be. She probably ends up being around that M7, M8, which is still good, but it's not that top of the line difference maker that has the potential of going 140. I don't think she has that. I think her top will be a 120 again or so, but we will just have to see about it. But anyway, that's the end of the questions for now. do get your questions in, as we are still about half an hour or so away from the team list dropping. So, yeah, it will be interesting, as I said earlier, about the team list. But also, while we wait for you guys to get your questions in, do remember to like the live stream, turn the notifications on, as well as subscribing. So, if we go here, took your leave Sheeran loan advice. Now Garner to Robert, Hoare to Conti, Dunlop to Simons. Yep. Riddell, Noffy, Roberts, Conti, Fish, Centra. Oh, is that? Oh, okay. So that's Centra on the bench. Good. I was going to say, if you had Centra on field, you're really struggling, but that's fine. So yeah, that's done really. That's a really good midfield there, and you'll have that ease of getting Fish up in general to that last midfielder, which is probably going to be, just off the top of my head, you've got Conti, you've got Robert. It's probably going to be Gardner, because yeah, Gardner is fine in the long run. And this is just about the next question that I see there. Gardner is not overrated. She's totally fine. She's averaging 110 for a reason. I know some people will look at the 154 and go, oh, look at that. She's totally fine. So yeah, 24 touch, 38 touch, 27 touch. She's doing exactly fine. And yeah, her tog's fine. Like, yeah. I just see her returning back to these 110s, 120s, etc. She played a tough matchup in Geelong. Last time out against Geelong, she went 96. So I think she's totally fine there. So I'm not too worried about her. She gave away 2 free kicks. I'm pretty sure one of them was bogus as well, that she could have easily turned it around. So if those 2 turn around and she gets a disposal, a tackle, and a disposal off there, then you're looking at a 95 again against a tough opposition. She plays Fremantle this week, and so I think she'll do well against Fremantle there as well. And yeah, she's actually, I think, down on disposals this year, or roughly around the same. Yeah, she's fine. Like, her numbers are perfectly fine in the long run. People are just nitpicking about a game or two, I feel like. If Scholes matches Strom this week, then I'm thinking to upgrade Harris to Malloy and Bow to Sheath next week. Yep. I think people are looking at the Scholes numbers a little bit too fairy tale like. She basically came up against 2 non-ruckmen in a game, rucks in a game and a half. And then that has basically meant that she scored like 190 points in 1.5 games. Whereas the other 1.5 games, you're looking at her scoring like 80 points or something like that. So there's such a stark difference, I feel like. So I am a little bit worried this weekend that she goes like a 70 or something like that, and Strom goes like a 90, and you're looking at a gap of potentially somewhere around that 100K or so marker. But I hope it's down a little bit more, closer to around about the 60, 70K marker, because then I can make that move. But I do think we are going to see a differential this week between the likes of Scholes and Strom, because I think Scholes has a slightly harder match up this week. I believe, are they playing the Hawks? Let me just double check. Who are they playing here? If we just go here to like this, you'll see they are playing. They are playing. Who exactly are they playing? I can just do this. We'll see who they are playing, because they've got the Indigenous names. They are playing West Coast this week. So she's probably going to go off and score really well. We'll see how, because she's actually playing 2 like non-rucks in the likes of Leclerc and McGrath, most likely, because that's what we expect that team list to look like for the likes of West Coast. So we'll see how she goes, but yeah, I'm expecting this gap to close again. It's 2.2 million, not 2.2 million, sorry, 220K, and I'm expecting it to close another 150K or so, down to around about the, I expect Scholes to jump up another 60, 70K, and Strom to drop another 30, 40K at least, I expect, if not more of a closing of the gap there. Here we go. Here, Heath. Yep. Apart from Hoff and Riddell, who are the next best mids? I think we're going to be looking at Hanks. I think is one that can really carry her form across. She's done it for 3 consecutive weeks, and her role there is just a really, really good role. The tackles are up. The disposals are up. She's there. Gardner's going to come back in a couple of weeks, but I know that you're basically just asking that question on the back of it. I still think Gardner's a really good pick. I know that she dropped some cash this week and had an off week, but it was playing a tough opposition, and I think she can come back and do really well. I think Roberts is also up there as well. So I would say the next best mid outside of Riddell and Marinoff is probably Hanks. And then I would say it probably is Gardner and Roberts there. I don't really trust Benici as much as her averages as of now hold. So we've got here, Lee, can you jump on Heath this week? It meant getting Greaves in and Wrench off the field, or is it just be safe and get McCormack in and don't worry about Greaves? No, if getting Heath in allows you to get Greaves in alongside getting Wrench off, then I do that. I take the slight risk, well, not the risk, but the that Heath isn't going to. Heath might lose cash this week, but you're going to get more and better in the future because Heath and McCormack are going to do roughly the same, and you're able to get the cash generator in Greaves, which is huge. So I do like those trades this week. Best rookie this week is still Greaves. Hasn't changed ever since when she was on about 70 halfway through the fourth, and you go, oh no, this is she's going to really jump in cash. She's still there and gaining quite a lot. So yeah, she's going to do quite well this week, I have a feeling. Thoughts on Watson, Rowbottom, Wrench to Rigioni, Riddell, and Young. Banks 266k for next week. I don't like it exactly. Because you're moving on to, Rowbottom's injured, so you got to move her on. So you got to get Rowbottom to Riddell. We know that. Rents to Rigioni works. Now, the problem is you're probably going to have to move someone else on instead of Watson. I don't think you can move Watson on to Young. I just don't like that trade, especially because Young's not making any cash. So you're moving on a potential premium defender or near enough top 7 defender in Watson, most likely, more times than not, for someone that's not even going to do their primary job of making cash, and that's in Young. She's not, if I've got the right Young here, Lauren Young isn't going to play this week projected because she's doing scrimmages from what I've seen in a press conference today from Port Adelaide coach. So that means that she's not going to play. So her primary job of making cash isn't able to be done this week. So therefore, I wouldn't be trading out Watson to Young just to try and facilitate. Otherwise, when that is roughly, if we think about it, you need about 170k downgrade. Is there a rookie that is 480 or 500, 520k in your lineup that you can move down to another rookie that will enable you to do that? If you have Ott, I would be doing that all day with Ott. Let's just look at all of the rookies here. If you have Painter, I'd be doing that move and moving her on. I'd almost be sacrificing even Bogue at that point to get her on. You've obviously got Wrench, others in this sort of range as well. This 500 to 599k range. If we go round change here, obviously not like that. Not these ones particularly. If we just go to here and start looking at the ones that have probably stopped their cash generation, if you can get Pousty to the likes of Young or another cash generator, then that's what I would do. Would you keep Boyd, Fish, and Grieve for every round of this season? No, they're not gonna. You wouldn't be keeping those three for every round. There's gonna become a point where they need to be moved on because they're not scoring premium line scoring. Boyd, she had a couple games, she's done pretty well, but not in the long run. I don't think she's gonna hold up. So I think she's gonna start to dip down. She might make it to 900, 800k, which will be a bad miss, but I don't think she's going to keep it up for longer. But that may be my misjudgment of the year. So I think in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to get rid of the likes of Fish, Greaves. She's only going to be there for, I think, 3 or so weeks, probably. So I think that that's a really good one to just grab. She's going to make a lot of cash. She's going to probably make 300k, 400k, and then move her on. Thoughts on Roberts' good run and team with teams like Portfolio, Pies, Giants over the next 5 weeks. AFL, let's bring this up here. And we go here to this one. I can also just move this on here for when we get teams in 15 minutes or so. And if we go to teams down here and bring up the West Coast Eagles, they have Port Adelaide. That's a tough-ish game, relative. Fremantle, they're going to probably be better. I think they're a better side than the West Coast Eagles, but that's up for interpretation, but they're very close. Then you've got Melbourne. That's a tough run. Then you get to an easy fixture of GWS and Collingwood, and then has Adelaide, Geelong, Sydney. That's a 6-game patch of 4 tough games, 2 easy games. So Roberts' run is sort of iffy. It definitely runs in patches there of good ones, but then utter horrific patches. So it will be interesting to see how she goes. But I wouldn't be trying to, at this moment, pick runs for premiums like that. I would be trying later on in the year to be doing that once you've got your team fully settled, I would say. If going Wrench to Greaves and Bowers to Riddell, I can go Too Good to Forward Rook under 3K, 320, 335K. I can't speak. But let's go and look at the likes of a forward under that marker. And you'll find that there basically is no one, because you're not going to, let's actually just look at it. I know you've got Mason here, but I wouldn't be grabbing Mason. She's gone 18 and 48. I wouldn't be grabbing her. Did she keep 4 behinds? 4 behinds. Wow, she had a shocker. So I wouldn't be going there. I also don't think that Bowers to Riddell is the best move. I know that everyone wants Riddell, but I don't think trading out Bowers is the best move for that. I think Bowers comes back with a 100, 110 and does her job. And then you're looking at Riddell might even go under her break even, which would mean that she starts losing cash. So I just think that you should only be moving to Riddell if it's from Ghana, I feel like, not from a Bowers or a Pasparkas yet. If you're going Wrench to Greaves, obvious trade. So I would be doing that. I'd be holding on to Bowers. I'd be probably moving Too Good on to someone, whether that means Too Good going up, and then using another trade to get the cash generators, because that's what you want. If you go something like a Wrench to a Rigioni and then another player to Greaves, and then go the Too Good up, I think you'll be able to do that. Just depends who you want to go up to in the forward line, but that's where I'd be going, rather than going and getting rid of Bowers for Riddell. What is your thoughts on Centra for Greaves? Is it necessary? If you're in a position, let's actually do this. We can do it here. 21st overall. We do this here, and this is the team, I'm pretty sure. So your girlfriend's obviously going to do the Gardner to Riddell trade. I think that's a pretty obvious one. She's got Thomas, Lucas Rod. Ott is probably one that she's got to go and get rid of as well. She probably is going to field Boyd, I would hazard a guess there. And then probably doesn't actually have to get a defender. Just put Indy Strom in that spot there. So that's actually fine. So, yeah, she's probably going to do Garner to Riddell, Ott and Wrench to Greaves, and probably another rookie, potentially. Well, you'd have to see. Maybe get rid of McLaughlin, actually, instead of an Ott or something like that, if you can fathom that. But, yeah, you'd have to see on that one there, because I don't know exactly what the cash gen is looking up and how much cash you'd have, but I'd be thinking something like that would probably work there for her, but that is a stacked team. The fact that she Zippy Fish is there. That's why I was like, oh my, that's still a stacked team, but Zippy Fish should be in the M5 slot, not the M3 slot. Makes it a little bit confusing, but yeah, the cash gen is still there for this side. But anyway, is it going? I don't even think it's going necessarily early on the likes of Simons. She's got her first game in. She's got the cash gen sort of rolling. So I think she's totally fine to grab up this week. I just think that there is other bigger fish. And I think also with the regards to a lot of people have defenders this week to trade out. A lot of defenders have sort of hit their break-even point where they're starting to potentially lose cash. So I think that that's where you really want to be going in the defender line, that D6, and sorting out another cash generator. And that's why Rigioni is on a lot of people's lips at the moment, because she is the best of the rookie defenders there out of everything there. So she's the one everyone is looking at. Do you give Essendon any chance of beating Geelong this weekend? Games being played at Windy Hill. 20 mils of rain is forecast. Well, 20 mils of rain, that's probably actually really good for the likes of Prasparkas. I know this sounds counterintuitive, but if that's going to raise the tackle level, and that's the only thing that's really stopping her from really scoring well is no tackles, then that's a really good thing, because a lot of scrimmages and stoppages, she's a really good stoppage player. We've seen it. She's one of the best clearance players in the comp. So I actually think that's really good for Prasparkas. I think you have to give Geelong, they'd have to turn it around sometime soon. If we look at the teams that Geelong has played, they played really tough sides. Like they are 0-3, but they play the team that hasn't lost in 15 games or whatever. They played Adelaide, who they were ahead at 3/4 time or something like that. And then they played Sydney, who they almost beat, and Sydney are 3-0. They look really good. They're third, etc. So you'd have to give that. Whereas I know Essendon are 3-0 here, but look at the sides Essendon's played. GWS are woeful. I don't even know if they will win a game. They kicked a goal basically on the siren to beat the Eagles, and then they beat Richmond by 15 points, which Richmond are horrific. So if I'm in this game, this Sunday game here, I do think that Geelong will get the win. I think it'll be tight, but I do think that Geelong will enable themselves to just get the win over Essendon, turn their season around. If anyone's got a shot of turning it around, it probably is Geelong from 0-3 out of any other sides, to be honest with you. And then we got best forward rook to downgrade too good, so I can trade Thomas or Watson up to best defender. I don't even think there's any good forward, to be honest, this week. And sometimes that's the way it is, that you have to sort of prioritize which upgrade you're going to do. I would almost, and this sounds so dumb to say this, I'd almost go Watson down to a rookie defender and Rigioni, better than too good down to a forward, because there is no forwards there. There is just none. Like, you're not going Boyle Carr, you're not going Mason, you're not going Davidson, you're not going Stanton. There's no good forwards here. Martin scored a 12. Like, no good forwards here. So that's why you're not going to go a forward. You're probably not going to go a cause either. So yeah, I just wouldn't be trying to, and this is the problem with what you're basically trying to do. It feels like, and I say this in my video that comes on Friday, is that you're trying to almost make two upgrades over one. And at this point, if you try and make two upgrades, you sacrifice cash generation. And if you get the call wrong, you've basically stuffed over completely. So I'd almost be like, yep, I am just going to go fix this up, fix cash gen here, fix cash gen here. At this point, you just want to keep fixing cash gen up and realizing the cash generation rather than trying to get those upgrades quickly, because I don't think it's going to do too well. As I just did realize that Cos is on the screen and that she could be the one to go. So if you wanted to go down that route, Cos could be a good one to go to potentially, but I'd have to look at her break even again. So let me just find it for you and just see if I can find the break even for Cos. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. I think it might work, might not exactly work. So let me just see for a second here. Need to quickly do something to grab this up here. Let me see if I can find Cos's break even. She has got a break even. Yeah, so Cos is the best one to go to now, looking at the break evens and all. So that is probably where I'd go there. But again, like I say, you want to be going and just prioritizing cash generation. And Cos is iffy. We're looking at Cos. She's gone 20, 40, and then been injured. And we're saying, ooh, that might be good. So yeah, Cos could also be one that I look at next week as well to upgrade to if she goes well. Because if she goes well, scores a 50 or 60, she might go up to 400K and then is the next cash generator to go to. But anyway, we'll see how that goes. depending on her and O'Dowd's role. I probably want to see that again. Watson, I think you can hold for another week. She's had down games like that before. Last year, we almost traded. I think she had a 35 last year as well. If we just go to it here, I think she had 35 last year, then did a 42, and then just started dunking everything. She had a 37, 45, and then the week after went 96. You don't want to trade her out and then she go 96 the next week. So I'd be careful with Watson at the moment, because she's a halfback distributor and you're almost trading her probably to another halfback distributor. There's not really a better role out of anyone in the back line to go to. So I would say probably just hold her at the moment. Can go Young if BC goes off this week, or just Riddell C. Yeah, I've seen that. I'd just be worried that, and you'll understand this, Corey, is that there's ever more of a chance of Lauren Young, and the whole purpose you want for her is that the cash generation. You still want cash generation, but there's a chance that she gets injured. And then you're looking at, and I just want to look at Cos here to see, but she gets injured and you're looking at her around about the, she had 62% total, that's fine. And you're looking at her being out for the whole year, and that cash generation is basically not there. And so you do get her for the loop, but is that loop going to be as valuable as getting the cash generation in? Because that F5 role or whatever could potentially bring in another, say, 2 rotations of players of sort of cash generators. That could be 300K. Is the loop worth 300K in the end this early on? Maybe, maybe not, depending on it. But yeah, I'd just wait and watch there, to be honest. Cos may score well against Gold Coast. Yeah, she probably will. She's probably going to go like 60, but I don't think it will be too outlandish, because she doesn't seem to have an ability at all to get the non-disposal points, which she needs. Her hit-out percentage is horrific. Her tackling percentage and mark percentage is really poor. So we're looking at someone that's gone and combined and averaging 30 and going, she can't go too many, I don't think. Maybe a 60 at most. But yeah, I don't see her really making too much cash. Might hold Clark this week to get Young next week and go Howley to Greaves potentially. Yeah, I do like those sets of trades, to be honest. Scored 40 in lower Tog, injured quarter 2. Well, she played 62% Tog. So even if she was injured in quarter 2, she still came out and played and had 57% ruck time, which is actually, I believe, I might be saying this. I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying this. If I go 69 divided by 79, that's 87% of the total ruck time. 57 divided by 62, that is 92%. So if she actually spent more comparative time in the ruck in lower Tog than she did in the first game, and O'Dowd's actually getting into it more. So I wonder what's going to happen with Cos in the ruck, because they look horrific with Cos in the ruck. They look horrific in general, but they look pretty bad either way. So it'll be interesting to see what the GWS coach does, to be honest, there, because that role is iffy there, to be honest with you. But GWS suck on a whole. They're going to probably lose this week again as well. But anyway, we're about a minute or so out from the team list. So we got a couple of questions here before the team lists come out for this weekend. Is Ponta a must trade out this week? Can only really get up to Woodland? I would say so. I can quickly just double check Ponta's break even here. But her break even for Ponta is 44. You can survive, I think. 44 is not going to be too bad. So I would hold her for another week. If we go to Ponta, she's got Brisbane. She's probably going to score all right. She might only make sort of 50, 60K. But 50, 60K and holding her for another week is probably better, to be honest, than trying to go to Woodland, who's probably going to score 70. But if Ponta goes and scores a 70, then Woodland isn't really much. And so I think there are bigger fish to fry there, to be honest with you, with that one. And then any interest in Jenna Richardson. Richardson is I believe, the back defender that went 80 odd. Yeah. I'd wait another week for Richardson just to see how her numbers really hold up, because I'm pretty sure her numbers don't hold up from last year. If my recollection is correct, she averaged 58 last year. So And that could be an outlier result. That's her highest score of her career. Give her one more game, I have a feeling, is what I would say, to be honest. But anyway, let's get to the teams for round 4. So first up here, let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys here, just so that you can see. I think that's big enough. We got Melbourne against Richmond here. And you can see Pisano injured for Colvin. And then you got Brennan, Dempsey, Barudson, and Yassir out for Brazil, Hoskin, Miller, and McKinnon. If we look at the on-ballers, Bacon still named on ball alongside Hanks, Heath, and Hoare. That's really good for what we wanted to see. And then you've obviously got, well, actually not obviously, but Paxman on the wing. Where have they named the all-important Greaves named in this half-forward pocket? So that'll be interesting how much CBA percentage she gets. But that is about it for this game in terms of interesting things. Zanka named full forward, Harris on the half forward there, so and Rigioni on the interchange. So we're just hoping for some cash generation there out of that game. The second game, Cos in for Eva. Whitford, Randall, Bella, and Fullerton. So Bella's back and Gregory omitted. Obviously, Wilson injured, Rowbottom injured, Gavan injured. So Bella being out, back in, probably disadvantages the GWS Rucks, because that probably means that Cos isn't going to do pretty well. So, yeah, that's not the greatest. And then if we look at the lineups here, McLaughlin named off halfback, Whitford and Ella Smith named on ball alongside Single. Interesting. I probably would have named Mithen there, but it is whatever you want there. So, yeah, that is interesting there, as we've got something about a double ruck in this game that I missed. Let's just see here. Greiser McKinnon is named, isn't that? Yes, McKinnon, the ruck, is named. So, yeah, that's good pickup there, Corey, with that one there. But, yeah, now Bella's the big interesting one in this game. Whitford obviously being back for Rowbottom, but that and Cos being back there. So I do think that probably negates a lot of the promise about Cos, to be honest. For the Carlton versus Bulldogs game, Keck and Goods are out for Austin and Torpey. McKenzie and Posty out for... Is Emma McDonald fine? Is that what I'm seeing? Or is she already out? Emma McDonald fine. Okay, wasn't she TBC? I swear she was TBC. Let me actually just check. I could be wrong on this, but I swear I thought that she was TBC. Yeah, what? TBC lines up. Okay, solid. Good on your injury list, Western Bulldogs, because that was absolute baloney. I thought she was done. But anyway, she's made a resurrection, it looks like. But Edmonds, Fitzgerald, Pritchard, and then, yeah, nothing too interesting there. Carlton still have Vesio named halfback, Cordner. Not too much there. Looks like Matty Goering's just getting smoked off the half-forward flank rather than being on ball, but that is Carlton for you. Then we get to the likes of St Kilda versus Hawthorn, Cox Butterworth. Understandable injuries and stuff like that and everything. So not really much to look at, except for Stone being named on ball still, which is great to see. And then obviously we did see the likes of, where is she? Patricio, named off the interchange bench. That's fine. Ellie Simons holds her place as well. Richardson, yep, not really too much to look at there. And Watson named off halfback as well. And that's good there. Then for Sydney, we get into the Sunday games for the that have the extended bench. So that is a watch here. If we go to Sydney, I expect to see Privatelli probably back in from potentially Martin, maybe. Yeah, that probably is the case. So we'll see how that is. If I'm looking at this bench for Sydney, Greason's going to play, Paul is going to play, Darcy Maloney's going to play. So that's already 3. And then one of Privatelli or Martin's going to play. So that's 4. So you got Reed or Hamilton are going to play as well. So that's the 5 there, rather. And then for the likes of Walliup, I believe it is. Are they Walliup? Yeah, Walliup. You've got Mulholland, Seth, East, West. We'll see who gets dropped off of there. They've got quite a lot of names of capital cities and all that in there. and directions because, why not? But yeah, you've got Strom, Bowers, Newton, McCarthy. That is a strong midfield battle of Moffat, Kennedy, Gardner, and then Sydney love to do this. Take the piss. Where is Ham? Ham named here. That's not going to happen. Let's be realistic at least here. Ham or Malloy's going to play on ball, and they're just going to put Cooper small forward. So yeah, that's not going to happen. But yeah, they do like to have a laugh there. And then for the Adelaide versus Brisbane game, I think that's going to be a straight up and down. These three basically. Allen back in for Cronin, and then these three get dropped as well. So that's probably what's going to happen there. And then you've got those three for Brisbane are probably just going to be straight up dropped again. Goodwin named on ball. Interesting. Don't think that's going to happen, to be honest. So yeah, that will be interesting. Colvin, where is Colvin? Where is Colvin here? Let me actually double check that. I can do it through this one. Colvin here. Back a week early. Okay. Don't think that's going to have much of an influence, but yeah, she's back. And then we go down to the last couple of rounds of last couple of games of the rounds. Garner obviously injured, Eddie, Hetherington, King, and Gavin Magnine. And then Schleicher back. That's going to obviously force a restructure. But what are they naming on ball? They've got Sheeran on ball, Riddell, King. Yep, this is exactly what we sort of thought. Carney named there, O'Shea, Tripodi. That's it's just a stacked side. They're going to have Magnine, Hetherington, and King out. They're not even going to play King. That's how strong their side is. And then you've got Collingwood, who are probably going to drop Patterson, Morris Dalton, and Maurice Atkinson. And still you'll see Barnett named on ball, playing as the ruck alongside Centra, Benici, and Schleicher. So that's a pretty good set there. Essendon, Bannister, Meg McDonald, Bragg. Okay. Thorne, O'Rourke, Gabby Thorne. No. Wales back. Interesting there with that. Wales back. Where's she been named? On the bench. Interesting if she gets up. That probably spells bye-bye to Murphy. And then you've got here, obviously, Nanscorn, Kane, and Empress Barkis there. So nothing too outlandish there. Bannister obviously injured. And then for Geelong, Prasparkas named in the middle with McDonald, Morrison, and then Dunlop as well. And then nothing outlandish there either, I don't think, from what I'm seeing. And then you've got the West Coast versus Port Adelaide game. And nothing outlandish either. Hooker, Franklin, Kavanagh. And then you've got Hammond, Stewart, Morgan, and Evans. Scholes versus McGrath, Wrench, Woodland, Painter, Maloney. Painter named on ball. Interesting, but not, I don't think, going to be that influential. And then Roberts, Dowrick, and then Simon Riggs, etc. So obviously, as you see here, no Young. We thought that would happen. So yeah, there's that. If we go back to, I believe Corey is talking about the North game. Let's just go over to North Melbourne. If I see this Shannon coming back, I'd hazard a guess is what your Shannon out. I don't see where a Shannon is, but I can do this actually. I can do this and just find her and see which Shannon you're talking about. Shannon, yeah, I missed her somehow. Let's go back here. Shannon, the Eliza Shannon is who you're talking about. Yeah, Captain McDonald out for Geelong. Again, another one that is out from omitted. That's surprising, but they are fighting for their year. So it is surprising to see a captain omitted, but maybe she's just down on form or something. Didn't really see anything exactly to say so, but maybe they've gone and said, we need Rebecca Webster back in the back line. A little bit more if I just bring up Webster's stats here. Actually, 0% CBAs. Surprise. Yeah, so it is what it is there. And then that obviously the West Coast game, we will wait for all 4 of these Sunday games because there's quite a lot. Is there 5 Sunday games? Let me just check. Or is there 4? There's 5 here, I swear. There's quite a lot of Sunday games. Let me just check. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Sunday games. So yeah, that's interesting. And yeah, quite a lot of. I thought there would be more injury chaos with these team losers than what we actually saw in the end. We didn't see Emma McDonald get injured. Sorry, so that was a weird one to see. To be honest with you, Yeah, so that was weird. And then obviously no Young, but we knew that was happening. Patricios might play less CBAs because of potential injury that she sustained. I think was it an ankle or something last week, but we'll see how that goes for her. She might have slightly lower TOG, but that was interesting to see her be named. And there was only 1 or 2 injuries that were major, like the Garner injury alongside the Rowbottom and Charlotte Wilson injury. But even that, they strengthened with Bella coming back in. I'm really shocked with what Reece Shaw has done with this side so far this year. Bella's kind of been in and out and everything. So yeah. Got McDonald on the bench. I'm guessing you're talking about the Meg McDonald, not Emma McDonald, which I'm surprised people went Meg McDonald, but it is what it is, Lee. But yeah, at least you can get a loop there. And this is why I still say cash generation is crucial. Like, yes, loops will start to create, but I had this last year, and anyone who was sort of following the channel will know this. I think it was round, and Corey will probably know exactly where which round this was, or roughly. But I had Amy McDonald. She got to like 450k after about 2 weeks, then had a bad week, dropped down to 390k, and didn't play again. And I was like, I can't really move her. There isn't. I'm going to be paying up almost for the rookie trade almost, which makes other trades really hard. So I just had her the whole year at like 300, 390k or something. She came back for another game. I was like, sweet. And she dropped like a 10 and then dropped again. So, yeah, it was Abby McDonald. I can actually probably bring up her stats here to show you the chaos that was. If we go to Abby McDonald here, hopefully this is the right one, as you can see here. And I was like, it was a couple of years ago. It wasn't even last year, but it was a couple of years ago. 53, I was like, perfect. That's great. 20, dropped, comes back, 20, 10. I was like, she's back at 300k. Like, that sucks. So yeah, that was a bad one. That was a bad choice. And that's why we still need to be rotating through the rookies, getting the cash gen, solidifying the cash gen, realizing it, because that's going to be critical for further down the line, because there's no point having a player that got to 450k, but drops back down to 350k because you can't realize that cash generation. You lost that 100k effectively. So yeah, that is that, I think, for this live stream. We've been going for an hour and 2 or so minutes now. So yeah, we got through. Teams weren't too surprising this week, which I guess is a little bit surprising that there wasn't much chaos. Not many debutantes, I don't think, just looking through the list here of 300 to 399Kers. I don't think too many are actually playing, but which sucks a little bit. Hasn't looked like the likes of AFL. No, it has switched over. So let's actually just double check this. All statuses playing, all prices, 300 to 399K. You got Simons, Wicksteed, Rigioni playing, and then a couple others, but not too many, obviously, playing. But there should be a fair amount playing. If I can check here, any playing first game. You got Butterworth playing her first game, Fullerton playing her first game, Torpy playing her first game, who's a ruck. And then you've also got the likes of Holly Eiffeld. That's a great last name, but she's also playing her first game. Emergency status might give me a couple from the from the Sunday games that haven't been exactly named, but we'll see about the likes of potentially Ransom Field doesn't play on the Sunday. So you've got some that will hopefully get named this week to play, because we kind of need an extra couple of rookies being named to play, because that's what we kind of need for this week. But anyway, let's just see here about the last couple of questions. Chaplin or Heath for Opt? I would go Heath. That Heath is just a better role there. And then you've got keep Thomas or Watson. I would keep Thomas over Watson. And then Huntington named forward. That yeah, let's actually just look at that quickly. Huntington named forward. In the back line, they have got Pease, Smith, McCormack, Brown, and Daisy Walker. And then in the forward line, Tiny Evans and Huntington. Will be interesting to see how that plays out. Because, yeah, I'm surprised she's named up forward rather than down back. But anyway, that is the live stream there. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. But I will see you guys back here for Monday's review. Bye, guys.